Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Season 9 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup has established itself as not just one of the best seasons in this single make series, but also one of the best in ARL history. A competitive grid has resulted in unpredictable winners in each of the driver divisions at each round, and strong driver respect has fostered several exhilarating and memorable battles. Tonight we say goodbye to the series once again, but not before a 10th event of the season, a 60-minute extended contest at Imola. Bringing you the action tonight on Apex Racing TV is myself, Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Aaron Smith, with Joshua Wilkie broadcasting this race to our YouTube channel. And it's been a fantastic season. It really has been, in terms of racecraft and in terms of just the camaraderie of the drivers. I personally cannot remember a season better than this. It's been superb, and it's going to be a disappointment to see it go once again. It will be back soon, the Porsche Cup, but this is the end for this season at least.
Yeah, I've got to agree with pretty much everything you just said. It's been really clean from most of these guys. There's only been like a couple of incidents here and there. I think the worst one we had was probably Road Atlanta. The B final comes to mind, where everyone just decided they didn't want to win anymore. I think that was another bad race in the A final as well. But apart from that, yeah, over 10 rounds and we've had one iffy race. Like you said, it's really good, and it commends a lot of these drivers who've been really clean, mostly consistent, and it's a shame we haven't had any big championship battles to go along with it. But I'm sure when we come back to this in however many months' time, it's going to be even more competitive than this season, and probably the best season we'll ever do. I'm predicting that.
I think that's a very sound prediction. Hopefully it will be, as the first few times in this qualifying session, this final qualifying session, are being put in. Corey Lazarus is currently up top. Throughout the season, it's always been Pennington and Koss in the top two. Every single pro-am, pretty much. All the time in qualifying. Not tonight. They've been beaten. Lazarus and Dimbolo, who made his debut last time out, is also up there. The pro drivers just starting their lap times. But let's take this opportunity, Aaron, to look at the championship standings. And like you said, it's pretty much wrapped up. The pro-ams and maybe the teams are the two that could change, but it would need some extreme results. At the top of the pros, no surprise who's at the top. It's Gabriel Salomon.
Yeah, he's basically been the favourite ever since, I'd say, round 2, to be honest. Ever since we saw what he can do. And, you know, you see an impressive race from driver from one race, but then if they do it 2 or 3 times, then you kind of understand that, okay, they mean business. And the fact that Salomon, let's not forget, started as a Pro-Am. That's the big thing we need to remember. Started as a Pro-Am and has gone on to absolutely smack the competition. And most definitely, after today, is going to finish with over 1,000 points. I don't know how often that happens in Apex, but it's going to be a pretty big achievement for Gabriel.
Yeah, it is a rarity. That's a good question, and I was thinking this earlier on. I think when we hosted GT3 Trophy last, I think the winning driver managed to just get to 1,000, like 1,004 or something, but Salomon's going to beat that in what's been a terrific season. So he's at the top there. In the Pro-Ams, this is the one that could still change, and I'm very pleased that Luke Payton's around. He said that he wouldn't be around tonight, but he is still in a chance. The point system when it comes to these longer races is very steep. So if Payton gets an overall podium tonight, it's going to demand Koss does all right, but Payton needs a stellar performance, and by his qualifying, maybe Luke isn't quite as dangerous as he has established himself through most of the season.
Yeah, I think Luke might have realised, especially last round, where maybe the mistakes have just happened a bit too often, and this championship is unlikely to happen. But of course, he's still here, he's still giving it a go. And of course, if Koss ends up spinning, crashing, and falls right down the order, like you said, the points can swing either way very, very quickly. So Luke just needs to keep his head down and finish. That's the best he can ask for today. And yeah, here's hoping that if he comes back for the next few seasons, he can improve a little bit better, because his qualifying pace has been pretty impressive so far this season, but today just doesn't look like it's his favourite track of the season.
He's also won every race in the amateur category in Porsche GB so far, so he's earning himself a few £100 every weekend by winning that series. He is a very good driver, is Luke, and is very much on the rise. In the amateurs, this one is almost the biggest margin, actually. Gordon Marshall, in terms of like proportionally, way ahead of Kim Onjo Bjorkland, nearly 100 points. Amazing performance from him in the AMs. And in the teams, this one has changed quite a bit in recent times. Valkyrie with fantastic pace, really ever since Aragon. Gottestad and Christensen have been absolutely banging the laps and banging the results. Impulse have gradually dropped back as the season's gone, and there's Outson, very much helped by Salomon's points total, up there in 3rd position. That's unlikely to change, but like I said, there can be some big point swings in this series. And what I would say is that basically, if Payton finishes 3rd tonight, Koss would need to get 10th, by my reckoning. So that's like a decent barometer of the difference between those two drivers in the Pro-Ams. The Pro-Ams is the one to watch out for. The others are absolutely sewn up. We are currently in the last stages of qualifying, and the Pro drivers putting in their lap times. So far, no Pro drivers have put any eligible lap times really in, because they're doing a double warm-up lap, but I expect to see that time tower change very significantly in the next 30 seconds.
Well, the only driver we've really had so far is Manson, who's just a tiny fraction off of Lazarus's pole time at the moment. I think Christensen's lap time, that one was genuine. I'm not 100% sure. Of course, we can't be sure. And, well, judging by the fact that Salomon just went 7th as well, I don't know, because the gaps are quite close. But I don't know. It's going to be difficult to tell. We'll just have to wait over the next few minutes and see if these times do ramp up. Or if the fact that Lazarus, forget everything I said, Hammer's just beaten that by 2/10. That's a very impressive lap time by Hammer. And let's not forget, I believe Hammer was the winner last week, wasn't he? So Hammer has got a gradual rise, and maybe that win last week has given him a bit of a confidence boost.
He didn't win the A final, but he did win the Heat 2, I believe.
He got a win.
He got a win, there you go, yeah. He was very good last time. I think he got 3rd as well, and maybe in the A final. Not 100%. No, maybe Christensen beat him. I think he was 4th in the A final. But yeah, it was probably his strongest round of the season. 5th place in the championship, actually, is Hammer, and been very consistent, as we have come to expect from him. Of course, the Pro-Am champion from last season. It's easy to forget that he was a Pro-Am very recently won his crown here. This is the third time in 4 seasons in this series that the series has ended in Imola. For some reason, the PES qualifiers always end at Imola, and that's why I've used it this season. Total coincidence, but I'm very happy it is here.
Oh, so am I. I'm one of the Imola I will literally defend this track until the day I die.
Bring
I
it
love
on,
this track
chat.
so much.
Give us your biggest insults and we will refute them.
I know that people don't like this track, and I kind of get it. I kind of do, but I don't know. It's just like when it's just you and the track, I don't think anywhere beats this. As Salomon goes pole, so that first lap definitely was a warm-up. He beats Hammer's time by just over a tenth. So, yeah, the gaps between the likes of the Pro-Ams and the Pros, it seems like it's going to be one of those weeks as Hammer beats that by 2/10.
Wow.
This could get quite interesting, actually, towards the end of this session. So, could be between Hammer, Salomon, maybe someone else can get involved in the mix. But, wow, Hammer's putting on a real performance today.
This is the only circuit we visited last season of ARA Porsche Cup. I don't know if that's maybe got an element to do with it. I mean, all the drivers have experience on these circuits because we visit each circuit the week after the official series has gone there. So they should have done a week of racing anyway. But I don't know, maybe Hammond just really confident after doing Imola in the last Porsche Cup season. Maybe he doesn't do so much officials, but yeah, he's absolutely on it. And Impulse Racing, I mean, they've still got a small chance at the team's championship, and Hammer's doing everything he can for that contention right now. Unfortunately, his teammate Nolder is not around. Here comes Godestad, who's been in great form recently. So far, not a good qualifying for him. He does move up to 7th position, only about a 10th and a half off the second row.
Yeah, and you know, Valkyrie can't do their cheeky teamwork tactics today at all because Slipstream doesn't really exist around here, to be honest. I mean, there's obviously from the last corner to turn 1, but even then, it's really difficult to overtake around here. This is not an amazing track for racing. I think even though I love this track, like love it just infinitely, it's one of the first tracks I raced as a kid on the F1 games. But I understand it's not very good for racing. This is more a hot lapping track, and it's just nice to drive. But I think today, especially because it's a 60-minute race, we're going to see some quite passive racing. Going to be a bit more about strategy, and qualifying is going to be very, very important.
I think you're absolutely right about qualifying. One of the most important of the season. Here comes Multivan. Across the line. He moves up the third. Good effort there from Bogdan Multivan. He has never really been in the top category of pro drivers this season, but he's more often than not had the pace for a top 10 result, and usually has some fun battles along the way as well. So that is a really good performance from him to get himself up there. Welcome to everyone in the YouTube chat. Nick Horn in chats. There's some rumours from Liam Sliptiff that he could be driver of the day. Come on, Nick. You can get up there, mate. Get yourself a top 10. And really show those pro-ams what's going on. Stegar living around as well. Thank you for tuning in, Jackson and James, and also Skix Licks saying he thinks that the racing is very good around this circuit. I think the racing. I think it's very tricky to overtake here, and it's a bit too narrow in places. But I like the difficult to overtake circuits, and especially in these 60-minute races. Guys really got to be intelligent when it comes to racecraft.
Yeah, I think honestly around here it's more about trying to force your opponent to do something stupid. You have to put pressure on them, kind of force them offline, because realistically around here it's quite narrow. There's only really one line you can take, and if you can force them off just a little bit, you give yourself a big fighting chance. Obviously, we're going to see the most overtakes into turn 1. And we might see a bit of slipstream training here as well. We might see some gaps bridge up between the top guys and the people who are a little bit further back. But yeah, this first sector, especially going through Villeneuve, it's just about following the cars behind, isn't it? This next corner, Tozer, is probably another decent opportunity if you're right on the back of your opponent and you can just send one up the inside. It's a decent opportunity. But yeah, those are kind of the only 2 overtaking chances on this track. And I guess into the final 2 corners of Ravazza 1 and 2. But yeah, difficult track to overtake, but very, very fun.
My eyes were glued in those closing stages of Glen Key. I was watching his 2-digit lap time go round and seeing if he was going to reach the line. I was thinking, oh, if he reaches the line, could really change qualifying here. With a good time, had a couple of personal bests, and he reached it by about 2 seconds and didn't improve. So it was a massive damp squib and nothing to report really. He will start in 9th place, but up at the top, Philip Hammer, who I think gets his first pole position of the season. Even last time out when he won in Heat 2, he started, I think, 2nd on the grid. So amazing performance then from Hammer. Salomon in 2nd place, Moldovan with his best qualifying in 3rd. Lazarus, great start from Corey, up there in 4th. There's Nick Madsen in 5th. Joseph Dimbolo, top of the amateur drivers in 6th. Then it's Pennington, who still got a chance at the title in 7th. Got a stat in 8th. Key, 9th. Costa's going to be very passive tonight in 10th. Herford in 11th, ahead of Christiansen with his weakest qualifying for a while. There's Erger, Koopmans, Marshall up there in 15th, Pedersen, Horg, Hottrup, Molliord, Volta, Palomino, Bjorkland, Livingston, and Horn rounding out the 24 cars.
Well, final race of the season. We've been waiting for it now, and we've not got anything spicy really going on apart from that Pro-Am battle. But yeah, I was surprised you could read some of the timing, like the live timing, because I mean, to be honest, I think I underestimated how dark these sunglasses are. Genuinely, I didn't know.
No, I took them off about 10 minutes ago, honestly.
I've still kept them on. I'm taking mine off now. God, I thought you kept them on.
No. I can't whack the gamma up on the monitors and high enough to penetrate the shades.
I was squinting the whole time.
So we've got one more driver to get on the grid. It's Nick Madsen, who's leaving it till about 5 seconds to go, which is a classic Nick, and he does get on the grid with 3 seconds to go. So everyone is prepared for one last round of Season 9 in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. Philip Hammer from the pole position, away we launch at Imola. It's a strong start for Hammer, who'll hold onto the lead. Moldovan trying to make some progress. There's a bit of a poor start for Lazarus from 4th place, but he's just going to be able to cover off Madsen, it looks like. Here comes Salomon on the outside. Salomon might even go for the race lead here. Hammer leaving himself room, and they are going to stay alongside through Tamburello chicane for the first time. Next up is Villeneuve. A little bit of a slide for Salomon. That might just compromise his line, but into Villeneuve, he's still got his nose marginally ahead of the Impulse Racing driver alongside. They're still alongside, dipping a wheel onto the gravel. That will compromise Hammer's exit, and now they've spun.
No.
Salomon's across the circuit. He's going to hit the Impulse car, and Lazarus goes through all of them, and it's an absolute mess at Tosa.
That was an absolute mess, and honestly, I genuinely thought they were just about going to get away with no contact, but I think it was Salomon who just moved a slight inch over to the left, and unfortunately it involved just I think I was about 3 or 4 cars involved, and there's even more chaos going on in the background as well. But Pennington has not had a good start. I think he's fallen back even more. Koss is up to 5th. Pennington's slipping further and further down. Not a good start for the Brit, who needs a good result tonight. He's fallen to 11th now. Not quite sure what's happened to Pennington. Now 12th as Salomon goes through. Something has happened to Pennington. I don't know if it was a slowdown or what, but
he has got a bit of damage.
Start.
I don't know if it's the damage, maybe he picked up a slowdown, but we'll see if he comes into the pits. Drive's limited to 60% fuel, so they've got to get to about 25 minutes into the race in order to get to the end. Let's see if Pennington has to dive in or whether he's going to soldier on. But yeah, this is his chances really getting away from him, and it's such a strong start as well for Koss. But Lazarus just took his normal racing line and managed to go under everyone. Dimbolo, the amateur driver, is up into 2nd place. And with overtaking tricky around this place, it could be very tricky for our front runners on the grid to get their way back up to the Australian out in the lead.
Yeah, this is, well, I mean, it was just like the slightest movement from Gabriel, and, well, it just caused absolute mayhem. It was a Moldovan who got involved, and Hammer got pushed by someone else, I think, going into Tosa. It was just absolute chaos. This is a view from Gabriel again, and actually, I think it was Hammer who might have moved across, and there was nothing Gabriel could have done there. He either come back onto the track a little bit further up and would have just caused a bigger block. I don't think there was much Gabriel could have done there. And it's just one of those really awkward ones. We'll leave that one to the stewards. But, I mean, it's just really shaken up the rest of this race. We've got, you know, big drivers all the way down the order. We've got a Pro-Am leading, an Am in second place. But let's not forget, Dimbolo did qualify very, very well. He qualified down in 6th. Really, really good performance by him. He probably should be a Pro-Am. But, yeah, really, really good from him so far. Up to 2nd. Godestad not too far behind. Kos is in a really, really good place right now, and he must be rubbing his hands together and placing about a hand and a half on that championship trophy. And that's a send from Madsen. We've seen that one before.
Yeah, that's a trademark. He's up to 5th place. He's got past Kos, who will wave on by these drivers if he needs to. I don't think he's going to be complacent, is Kos. He knows that he still needs to get about a top 6 in order to absolutely confirm, but that's if like Pennington wins the race. But this is a really mixed up event now from here on in. This is almost a bit like, not necessarily a reverse grid, but at least a mixed up grid, maybe a top 10 inverted, something like that, because with Salomon down in 10th place, Godestad seemingly with much better pace than what he demonstrated in qualifying, because he is right on the tail of Dimbolo and wants to get past and start to catch up to Lazarus, who I think I called Australian earlier on. I do believe Lazarus is in fact a Kiwi, so apologies for that.
He is indeed a Kiwi, and I understand how people get the flags confused, but I also understand why New Zealanders and Aussies get a little bit annoyed when you confuse the two. But here's Hammer trying to get past, I believe this is Moldovan, who's another driver involved in the lap one round the outside. I don't think that line's going to work, and just has to sit back. And no, he's kind of proven my point that this is not an easy track to overtake at all, and those outside lines really don't work. He's also picked up a bit of damage on that front end, unsurprisingly, so could be a long first stint for Hammer, maybe lacking a little bit of pace because of that damage. It's difficult to overtake, and he's actually got some difficult opponents ahead, which is quite awkward for him. He's got Moldovan, who qualified in 3rd, so yeah, not going to be easy, and he might just have to follow Moldovan through.
Nick Horn had an incident on lap 1. I didn't want to mention it because we've got some supporters of Nick Horn in chat, and I don't want to break the news to them now. Nick may not get the race win tonight, which would be absolutely huge, and a huge shock as well to the whole motorsport world. Here it was. Well, he already had an incident on lap 1, and then maybe that's the second incident. Ow, that's going to hurt. And he's out. He's in chat. It's a shame, Nick. And well, we said at the start of the season, if we can get you off the bottom of the tower, then we've done something. Unfortunately, we've failed because you finished last in this race. So, yeah, unfortunately, season failed, and hopefully you'll come back next season and we'll try again.
Yeah, didn't look like Nick is a big fan of this track, as didn't look too pacey, and I don't blame him. Very difficult track, as this is Palomino and Bjorklund getting very, very close to one another. This is for 19th place, just a bit of scraps, as I think they were also involved in a separate incident. That's Palomino trying to defend desperately, bit of contact. Let's hope they... Oh, and that's a spin for Bjorklund, and he might get overtaken by Molliord, who goes right on through. And Bjorklund is just slipping further and further back, and yeah, not a good start to the race for him at all. And we're only 6 minutes in, and it feels like we've had quite a lot of action so far. As it's quite a jumbled up grid actually compared to what we're used to, and the likes of Christensen all the way down in 14th. And it's someone who's won a race and a couple podiums. He's just struggling out there, really, really poorly.
Yeah, he got involved somehow in the lap 1 stuff, but I think now, I think there's just so much traffic, it's difficult to get through. He is now into a bit of clean air because he's got past Pedersen, and now Koopman's spun round, and man, Moldovan has been unlucky tonight. Moldovan was so unlucky on lap 1. He was on the outside Tosa and just was forced off when the melee was going on in front of him. This time he's been able to avoid... no, I think he did make contact. You can see he's already getting to the clutch, trying to save a bit of fuel whenever he can. Koopman spins up ahead, and yeah, could go nowhere. Doesn't look like he'll pick up too much damage from that.
Yeah, these Porsche Cup cars are mostly built like bricks, but sometimes they can just fall apart if they feel like it, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. This is going to be another Madsen send. It is indeed Madsen up to 4th place now. And I actually think Madsen lost out at some point because I think he made the overtake. Actually, no, he made the overtake for 5th on Kos, and then Kos has lost to Key as well. So Madsen and Key battling it out for 4th. Goddardstad's a couple seconds up the road. And actually, dim below Goddardstad have caught up quite quickly to Lazarus, actually. So unfortunately, Lazarus, I think he had about a 2-second lead. So just maybe took that opportunity to save a bit of fuel, save some tyres, as he might think he doesn't have the pace to pull a gap anyway. I'm not sure, but it's a difficult track to overtake. Track position is always favourable here, so let's see what Lazarus can do over these next 52 minutes. Of course, there's one pit stop involved. It's pretty much a game of who can save their tyres and fuel the best, as we've often seen the likes of Salomon go 1 lap extra than the rest of the field because he's a fuel-saving god. So we'll see what he can do down in 8th place. And remember, he's still only 4 seconds off the lead, so it's not over for those drivers who had a bit of an incident on that first lap.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned how Salomon's been, making his way past Erger and then past Herford, and now he's on to Marshall. So whilst a lot of other drivers are getting a bit marooned, oh, that's odd. Is that Pennington off? I think that's Pennington who's gone. What's going on there?
Why did he take the alternate?
Oh, and Goddardstad has been able to get up into 2nd place, but let's see what's happened. He's just like gone straight here on the kink.
He's just maybe a technical failure. Oh,
I mean, it came back just in time,
I think. Yeah, I genuinely thought he was trying to take the alternate layout, and I was like, it's not 2003 anymore, Luke. It's not that layout. But yeah, it just looked like a wheel disconnect or something. But yeah, just about managed to keep it on. But it's just getting a little bit worse and worse for Pennington, and that championship is just starting to look a little bit less likely. And it is a bit of a shame that Luke hasn't had the best luck. He sometimes gets involved in incidents and then has stuff like that happen to him, where he just has a bit of a technical failure. I think it might have happened again as he's lost another place, and it's just getting worse and worse for Luke. And you got to feel bad for the guy. These things do happen. They happen in real life, of course, and yeah, just unfortunate. But of course, still 50 minutes left. Anything can happen to Kos, so just got to keep his head on, and we'll see what he can do. But Goddardstad has made his way past, like you said. Madsen's made his way past. Dimbalow's starting to slip back. I think Kos has just let Salomon through. He's not risking anything considering where Pennington is. And Lazarus has just managed to pull away a little bit. I think the guys behind were fighting a bit too much for these early stages, but this is going to be a really interesting race now. I could not predict who's going to win this one.
I don't know if you could get a replay of what happened to Dimbalo, because he lost those places to Goddardstad and Madsen very quickly, one after the other, and I wonder if they were linked to each other. But Salomon is absolutely clawing these back. I mean, he is significantly faster than a lot of these drivers. And we might get a replay now of that Dimbalo incident. See what happened to the man who was in P2. He was caught by Goddardstad.
Might have just been swarmed, and he just... It's on the inside, it looked like a fairly clean overtake. Oh, bit of contact there. It's probably forced him onto the grass and put him offline, and I'm guessing he just gets overtaken by Madsen as well, who we know who... Madsen tends to be a little bit creative with his overtaking, a bit of a touch there. It's put him offline again. So, yeah, Dimbalo just got a bit swarmed there by both drivers and has to go defensive as well. So, yeah, just not ideal for Dimbalo there. He was looking really good, but of course he's still in a good place considering he's an AM, he's in 4th. The next amateur driver is in 8th. So I'd say he's doing pretty well, especially considering this is, what, his 2nd race? So, yeah, Dimbalo's still doing a good job and could still grab a podium here. You never know.
Yeah, first 60-minute race for Dimbalo, probably the longest race he's ever done in a Porsche Cup car. So I think it's going all right for him. And a word as well, you were feeling sorry for Pennington. I don't feel sorry for Pennington at all. He won. Oh no, that is Quatchup has dropped it at Rivatsa 2. That's ugly for Quatchup, who had actually gained quite a few places. Let's see what happens to Salomon. He's going to get past Key here, the Danish driver getting past the Norwegian. Key having a decent round of it at the moment, and but no match for the championship winner elect.
Well, I honestly think this is a plot by Salomon to just have a bit of fun in this final round, but he's overtaking one driver after another. This is Quattrop dumping it on that last corner, and yeah, just picks up the throttle just that little bit too early and spun it round and lost a couple places there. It's a difficult car, difficult track, and yeah, some of the drivers are already finding that one out. It's a real butt kicker, no pun intended. But that gap at the top coming down again. It's gone from a second to literally 2/10. I think Lazarus is counting his days. It could happen at any moment, and his race pace has just dropped off a little bit. And well, like I said before, track position is very, very important, but doesn't seem to quite have the pace of the other drivers around him. I mean, the guy behind Goddesad was 6/10 quicker than him on that last lap. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Godstad seems a lot faster. I don't know what was going on with Godstad in qualifying. Only 8th place. Really did underperform. And by the way, I said before I don't feel sorry for Pennington, and then I got I got interrupted by a spin, and now I just sound awful. What I meant was I don't feel bad for Pennington because he won like 200 quid at the weekend doing Porsche GB. He's an AM driver in that, and if you win the amateur category, you get like 100 quid or like 200 quid a round for winning the AMs. So like, if he's got tiers, and he can just wipe them up with those $20 notes that he's got, because the guy's absolutely rolling in it at the moment, doing really well in Porsche GB. Congratulations to him. Lazarus lifting, coasting a little bit, but apologies, Goddestad lifting, coasting a little bit behind Lazarus, and still unable to get past. However, he's got to go for it soon as Goddestad, because Madsen's going to be on the back of him soon, and Madsen's not going to fuel save, he's just going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. And Dimbolo, I think, will do the same. I mean, Dimbolo's got nothing to lose. He's not got a championship to fight for. He's just going to want to get the best result he can, and I don't really blame him. And who knows when this next season will start, but Dimbolo is showing he's one of these drivers who's also showing early signs of someone who can be quite good. And yeah, when this season starts, whenever it is, I will definitely be keeping an eye on him. He looks very, very competitive, having only been doing a few rounds, and as an AM, very, very impressive, and he probably could have been even more dominant than the likes of Marshall in that championship.
And I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. I'm not sure if I've said it so far this season, but Dimbolo does have probably the best name on the grid as well. And I know that we've all been thinking it, and we haven't said it, but I think that's the case. And so hopefully he does continue in ARL, because we want to be able to say Dimbolo as many times as possible. Lazarus is all over the place.
Oh.
That is the lead gone. That seems to be a real treacherous corner, the exit of Rivazza too, and that poor exit will mean that he's got no chance at responding going into Tambrile. I mean, he'll get close, but Goddesad should just be able to cover off the middle of the track. Let's see if there's going to be a dive. Look at Madsen having to go defensive as well against Dimbolo, maybe moving a little bit. The top four on top of one another now, but Goddesad is set free, and this is the time where the Norwegian has to try to make a break for it, because he does seem to be a few tenths of a second a lap faster than Lazarus right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of the only opportunity he's going to have to win this race, is breaking away from the likes of Madsen, Dimbolo, and Salomon, who, let's not forget, is only a couple seconds behind. And anything could switch up at any moment. Maybe a bit of fuel saving could swing that pit stop. Undercut, overcut, whatever strategies we're going to see today, it could get very, very spicy. And this is just the first part as Dimbolo gets really, really close to Madsen. And well, this could be actually a very interesting battle for the podium from start to finish. I believe Salomon's definitely going to be up there in the latter stages of this race. He's probably just gotten where he needs to be. He's got a bit of clean air, and he's going to fuel save probably until the next pit stop. So might not see any action from the likes of him for a while, but this top four is going to remain interesting, as that's Goddesad going very, very wide. And maybe Lazarus was playing tactically out in first and saving a lot of fuel. This could get really interesting.
Yeah, he is getting close at the moment. Let's see how close he can be on the exit of Rivazza. He's dropped a little bit through Rivazza 1, and this is such an important corner, going on to by far the longest flat out section. And I think Goddesad's going to just about be safe. He's 3.5 tenths of a second away from the Kiwi behind. Madsen still having to go defensive against Dimbolo. Dimbolo may not be familiar with Nick But all the other drivers will be familiar that Nick does not let you have anything. The most aggressive driver on the grid. Dimbelo's alongside, they make contact, and he's over the
Ooh.
curbs. They've both lost time. And Dimbelo will have to lick his wounds and go again as Hereford has got past Marshall. Marshall's actually had a bit of a setback, and Hereford has had a setback now. A slowdown for Dimbelo, and Salomon gets a cheap 4th place.
Yeah, honestly, that really reminded me of Verstappen Hamilton into turn 1 in 2021. They both kind of... Madsen didn't quite leave him enough room and forced him onto those curbs, which are just absolutely killer. Even in these cars, which are built for taking those kind of curbs, these sausages are very, very large. And pause, and that's Marshall going very, very wide. But yeah, not. Oh, I think that was Pedersen getting very, very close as well. That could have ended really badly.
Some good avoidance there. Hereford did, I think, the best thing there, just missing Tamburelli when you had Marshall half spinning in front of him. Marshall now in 10th, Pedersen in 12th, and Hereford now in 14th. Hammer's up to 11th now. Hammer's only 9.7 seconds off the lead. I think that was Salomon lifting and coasting as well into Rivatsas. I think Salomon is absolutely lifting and coasting and fuel saving, as he identified earlier on. Some people in chat, Nick saying Marshall for top 5. And also Skix to Licks saying that tyres will be shredded by the end of the race. That could well be a good shout, but that's sort of what we thought at Interlagos. Didn't quite turn out that way. As Paynton's come into the pits, he was clearly carrying damage, and he's come in as early as he possibly can to get to the end of the race to take his faster pair.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all from Luke, but we have seen that going longer definitely is the better option, especially at a track like this where, you know, the pit lane is very, very long. To be fair, I've just realised most Italian tracks have very long and slow pit lanes. Monza does, this track does, Mugello does as well. I don't know if it's a theme. Oh, that's Pedersen really trying to get past Marshall, as a bit of a queue starting to form behind him now, and that looked very, very desperate from Pedersen, who only just managed to avoid him. And I have the feeling something pretty bad's going to happen. I just have the sense that someone's going to go rolling at some point. I don't know. It's getting very, very feisty, and you know, we've got 40 minutes left. You're not even like halfway through to your pit stop yet.
No. It is very tight at the moment. Marshall falling backwards after a very strong start for himself. He's now down to 11th. But what I would say is that the field is a bit smaller tonight. This is the smallest turnout that we've had this season. I think the next smallest was maybe last time out. I think we had like 30. So a few drivers missing tonight. It does mean that the early pit stop makes a bit more sense because you're not going to come out into as much traffic. Leaders will have to pass maybe Livingston and Hawk and maybe Molliord, maybe Palomino. But on the most part, they won't have as much traffic. And of course, as you were saying before, you know, it's a very long and slow pit lane, so you're going to lose a lot of time. So if you do want some clean air, it could work for you. So I think the drivers around just outside that top 10, guys maybe stuck a bit behind Marshall, might be a smart thing for them. Moldovan was one of them, and he has decided to come on in, and it's been an unlucky day for him. If he'd been in a different place, he could have been leading after Tosa. He could have been leading right now. His pace has been very strong. But unfortunately, that instant at Tosa, which had nothing to do with him, undid what was a very, very good qualifying performance.
Yeah, and that's happened to the best of us, where you see an opportunity where the two leaders are crashing into each other, and you're like, if I only just took a different line, I could have been first. You know, the one that comes to mind actually, and this is going to be so unbelievably obscure, I don't think anyone's going to understand, but Singapore 2017, that big crash
honestly,
at the start,
genuinely
Alonso
went through my mind as it happens.
Outside.
Yeah.
Alonso round the outside, he could have been up to second or third, but got so unlucky. I honestly, like, a podium in that McLaren would have been historical for Alonso. It would have been better than his 24 hours of Le Mans win, to be honest. That would have been scenes. It would have been limbs, but yeah, just wrong place, wrong time, and Moldovan might be feeling something similar.
The better podium that race would have been if Hulkenberg had got on the podium, but unfortunately his hydraulics failed when he was fighting with Bottas for 3rd place, and didn't happen. But it will happen in 2024, guys. I still have faith at Haas. Yeah. Koss is past Key. Koss hasn't really been doing a whole lot tonight, but he has, like, under the radar, been moving up the order. He's up to 6th place now, doing really, really well. He doesn't really need to worry about Pennington now, because Pennington is last of the runners, but he's moving his way through. Koopman's into the pits. He'll come out in 23rd place when he does his pit stop, so quite a few drivers hanging on a pit stop. And also interesting that this is quite a high, in terms of, like, distance, like, if this was a lapped race, it's quite a high fuel consumption race. I think in terms of time, it may not be so bad, but I think you still use a decent amount of fuel. I'm surprised the drivers can go 40 minutes on fuel. And of course, if the drivers are pitting with 40 minutes to go, it tells us that the furthest that they can go on a tank is 40 minutes into the race. So it may be still 16 minutes away from most of the drivers coming in.
Yeah, I guess at a track like this, your full throttle for a decent amount is, especially considering the long pit straight. I mean, could you imagine if we were using the pre-Senna layout in modern times? That would be... I actually don't know if these cars could take turn 1 flat.
Nowhere near. No, they could not take Tamburello flat. No. I mean, please, iRacing. I mean, this is what sim racing is for, to be able to have unrealistic combinations. A bit like GTPs at Nordschleife. Will never happen in real life. But we did that last week. Let us have old Imola, please. Be wonderful. I wouldn't say old Imola is any better than new Imola. I would say that. I think the new Imola is fantastic, but it would just be nice to have it as an option.
Definitely, as Quattrip comes into the pit lane as well. We're seeing a fair amount of early pit stops, which we'll definitely keep an eye on those guys in the later parts of the race. But considering that we have the Grand Prix Legends series now with the Lotus 49, and I think they have the 79 as well, I'm surprised they don't have more historical tracks, because, I mean, obviously they can't laser scan them. Obviously, that's obvious. I don't think I need to mention that, but they have the basis of the normal tracks. And they have pictures and videos of the older tracks, so just wing it. Say, why not?
Yeah.
Let's just make an old track.
Old Hockenheim, old Imola, old Silverstone. Just bring it on.
Old Monza.
Old Interlagos.
There's a lot of layouts that they need to add. Trying to think of other ones as well. That's quite good. I mean,
Pedersen's gone out.
Yeah, Pedersen. I'm not sure if that's him just... I don't know. I think it might have just been all by himself, actually. Doesn't look like anyone else was involved in that. Of course, we'll try and get a replay of what happened to Pedersen. I think he was lingering around 10th place. We've got a Gordon Marshall off track, which could be involved. So it could be a 2-car thing, and they are close to each other. Oh, bit of a spin there. A half spin there for Pedersen. And on a straight. He nearly got it. A good save.
Oh man.
he was trying to save it for about half a mile. He nearly got it. Oh, you have to feel so bad for Pedersen. I want to see how many times he snaps straight. I'm going to count this. Okay. Waiting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He's still on the throttle. Why is he on the throttle? What is he doing?
That was about 7 or 8 snaps, and we'll make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, so it's 8 snaps. He nearly kept it together.
That's not the time to use the throttle. I'm not saying you should be using the brakes, but why is... I mean, maybe I'm being dumb. Maybe that's how you save a slide in this car, but what is he doing? Lift off the throttle and recover the slide.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was trying there. I mean, the default in iRacing to saving a car is just to stamp on the brakes and hope that the car stays central. And he thought, nah, mate, I'm gonna keep it pinned. I'm gonna keep going forward, and he nearly made it. To be fair, I have the feeling this might get put on social media at some point, because that is incredible.
We've got some good moments already. Lap 1 is going on social media. That's going on social media.
Wow, this has been a pretty good race. And people diss Imola, and
Yeah.
then stuff like this happens. You know, it's a good track. Crazy stuff happens. I nearly used a word I can't say there, but crazy things happens here because it's Imola. Sometimes it's not always good, but it's just it is the history of Imola. It's what happens here. This track is never boring, apart from. No, I was going to say apart from last year, but we didn't go there last year because of rain. I think 2022 was quite boring, but 2021, that was an entertaining race. And today is no different. I love Imola. You should love Imola. Just put this track on a pedestal.
2022 was when you had the good sprint. It was the first ever good sprint.
Yes.
And like Leclerc passed Verstappen on the last lap, or maybe the other way around. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I remember from that one. Hammer, only 8.2 seconds. He's actually faster than the leaders, is Hammer. They're all bunching up. This is a fun race right now. They're all just bunching up to one another. For example, Dimbolo was half a second faster than the race leaders last time round in 5th place, getting down the lead. Hammer himself was 0.4 of a second faster than the leaders that last time round. And so this one's still alive. Anyone on the top 10 could theoretically win the race, but the further up you are, I think the more fuel they're saving. I would say Salomon's the favourite right now. He is, I think, saving an absolute ton of fuel. But Madsen is probably the most passive I've ever seen him. I think he's saving fuel in 3rd place. Lazarus wasn't saving fuel in the early stages, it looked like, but now he is. So I think any one of the top 4 could get out to the pits in the lead. And of course, you know, in the last few stages, could well be who's got the tyres in terms of who can hold on to the lead.
Yeah, I'm just mainly worried about the likes of Dimbolo, who I mean, he's got good pace now, but I think he's just going a bit too much early. I think he's using maybe a bit too much fuel, the tyres as well, and will eventually drop back. I think he's going to get a solid 5th today, or at least around that. So still a good result for him nonetheless. But I just think he might be pushing a little bit too much, or I could be completely wrong. And he's a saving god, and he's saving and setting fastest laps. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. But I agree with it. I think the top 5, any one of them could end up winning. This is Gordon Haug into Ravazza 1. That's very deep. That's very deep. And they both hit each other, and that's unfortunate. And they kissed each other as well on the way round. And yeah, the two Ravazzas seem to be a bit of a hotspot, and he spins again.
Well, Livingston's gone back to the pits now. Here they were, and Livingston actually overtook him, and then he came into the pits. Livingston is going back out there, fortunately, so he's not retired, which is good to see. Shout out, by the way, to our title sponsor, Apex Racing Academy. Of course, if you want to get faster in this car, or many others in iRacing, including single-seaters, touring cars, GTs, rallycross cars, do go to apexracingac.com and get yourself a subscription. We've got group coaching sessions, we've got setups, we've got telemetry, all provided by some of the best drivers in all of iRacing. Do check out apexracingac.com to get your subscription. There is a link in the description below. As Livingston gets back out on track, we've got 2 retirements so far out of the 24 drivers.
Yeah, and I've got to say, 2 retirements at a track like this is actually quite impressive, and I'll give it to the rest of the drivers for keeping them going and not giving up. We've seen that from the likes of Hammer, who currently is trying to get on the back of Christensen and overtake him for 9th place. Hammer hasn't quite made the same level of progress as the likes of Salomon, as he's just been caught up by quicker drivers, unfortunately, who also had a bit of a poor start. As Christensen, of course, is a race winner this season, very, very competitive, and Hammer is genuinely about to kiss his back bumper, and this could get really, really feisty, as Hammer could get impatient, maybe go for a bit of a dive where he shouldn't. This is definitely a corner where you should not be overtaking Piratella. Barely wide enough for 2 cars to go side by side, let alone for someone to send it up the inside. Acqua Minerale now again, another corner where overtaking is not really ideal. And the next corner, one of the most famous corners on this track, very anti-outer, of course, where
Ooh,
Charles
change for
Leclerc
seconds.
famously spun a couple of years ago. And yes, Lazarus has
Oh,
lost a
Lazarus
bit
has
of
made a
time.
mistake. He's had a half
Yeah,
spin. That was what the smoke
losing
was.
time.
And he's under pressure from Salomon, who's already been given a free place by Dimbolo earlier on. And he almost got another one there, but the Kiwi held on well. They're going to keep on battling. They're into Tamburello, but Lazarus comes into the pits, maybe overheating those tyres, but that's not going to help, and he's risked speeding as well. We will see if he's got a penalty.
Yeah, I think, well, I was just talking about how treacherous very anti-outer can be. Over the curbs we go. Just a bit too much on the throttle, and that's what I mean. Hold the brakes and you're able to save it. Take notes, Pedersen. But yeah, just about managed to keep it. Salomon nearly got past. And yeah, I don't blame him for coming into the pits, as those tyres definitely would have been absolutely cooked, and it would have lost so much time to Goddestad. But yeah, just a fraction too much. Managed to keep it on. Good car control by Lazarus, and just about managed to keep on to third. Now comes out of the pits around 38 seconds off the lead, and in a decent place. Got a bit of a couple of seconds of cool air in front of him. If he can overtake Moliord and Palomino in quick succession, he's going to be in a good place to just push on for these next, I'd say, 20 odd minutes.
Yep, he would have liked a bit more space, because I think the two ahead of him aren't going to be pitting for another 5 minutes or so, and Lazarus is considerably faster, so I think he's going to have to get them done out on track, which could lose him a crucial couple of seconds. Hammer also came in that time. He had enough of trying to overtake Christensen, and so he just came into the pits instead. Madsen trying to bridge the new gap to Goddestad then, so he's right in position for when the pit stops occur. Now the top two coming in, now the top four coming in. Salomon, I think, will be pushing as well at this point. I think he saved a good amount of fuel. I reckon he's going to be ahead at the end of the pit stops, but he wants to be as close to the top two as he possibly can get before the pit stop, so when he takes a couple less seconds of fuel, he can jump them both.
I do think this is a track where the overcut is definitely going to be the winning strategy, more so than we've seen over the course of the rest of the season. I mean, it usually goes that way, but I just think at a track like this, where a heavier car can hinder you so much, I just think having, a lot less fuel, 20 odd kilos, is really going to help you just carry that little bit extra speed into every single one of the corner, which will slowly add up over the course of a lap, and it could end up being 4 or 5 tenths in the end. And I think whoever goes the longest in this race will have, not only will they get ahead of everyone else, they'll have a sizable gap as well. As Moliord is another driver coming into the pits, that's going to help Lazarus, as he's got about 1.5 seconds to Palomino in front. So it could still be on for Lazarus, but a fairly long pit stop compared to some other drivers we've already seen today.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Here comes Moliord then. And back out onto circuit. We're expecting the Jazz to come in. Maybe not on lap 21, but probably lap 23. I think Salomon might get to lap 24, perhaps. He's now 1.36 off the lead. Another shouts out, by the way, to another league, which is starting on Apex Racing League. The Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship. We've now got 32 sign-ups, and we do thoroughly recommend signing up. That is on Saturday nights, so really good for American drivers in particular. Really our most accessible league for those in the Americas, and also Aussies as well, because it's on a Sunday morning. But also, of course, Europeans are welcome as well. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Elimination heat formats following the official series, 10 rounds. And you can sign up over apexracingleague.com. Back with our leaders, Salomon now 1.2 seconds off the lead, gradually taking the time down, did set the fastest third sector of anyone that last time out, but Dimbolo is always on the back of him. It's a shame that Dimbolo had that setback earlier on. He collided with Madsen and went over the curbs. Otherwise, he would probably still be ahead of Salomon right now, and he is more than a match for these guys. It's just a question of whether he saved as much fuel as them.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the fastest lap of the race so far, so he's got some really good pace in this Porsche Cup car at the moment, and well, he's not part of a team. He's just doing this all by himself, and well, he's doing a damn good job, I'll tell you that. And well, I'm seeing definite signs of Dimbolo. You know, when you look at a driver in their early stages, and you just can kind of tell if they're going to be a good driver.
I remember looking in the mirror. And I thought, yeah, this guy knows what's up. And yeah, so I absolutely know what you're talking about, Aaron. Yeah, very well put.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, let's not speak about the fact that you haven't touched a sim properly in
Hey,
I
won.
years?
I won the best commentator event. Dominated that. And I won Jimmy Broadbent's Reality Race, 23 hours older, one in the Mustang category. So I pretty much won my last 2 races.
Didn't you say that there were only 2 people?
No, that was a different event. There were like 9 teams. But I did also win that Oran Park race. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I did win that Oran Park race against one other guy.
You love any moment to boost your ego, and you know what? I respect it. But
yeah,
let's get back to things that are more important. We've got the likes of Dimbolo coming into the pit lane as well. And unsurprisingly, it looks like a fairly lengthy pit stop compared to some other guys that we've seen so far. And actually, compared to the likes of Lazarus and Koss and Kit, around the same. I was just looking and comparing it to the likes of Moldovan and Pennington, who did 41-second pit stops, which is very, very quick compared to the rest of the guys that we've seen. We've also got Marshall coming into the pits, and well, Sam, it looks like you were pretty spot on with your fuel lap predictions.
Yeah, not too bad, eh? Dimbolo ahead of Lazarus crucially, so yeah, 1 second now ahead. So Lazarus definitely hasn't benefited from that early stop, and Dimbolo needs a big outlap now in order to try to beat the other guys. Goddestad, I imagine, will be in this lap. I think Madsen will be in this lap. I think the big question is, can Salomon extend it to lap 24? If he can, he has the lead in the bag. He can take residence there. And he's done it. He has done it. Fantastic fuel saving. He has managed to get the overcut, and this lap on low fuel should be enough to carry him ahead. Looked like Madsen was very close to hitting Goddestad on pit lane entry, but I think they avoided one another. Goddestad actually managed to pull out a little bit of a gap, and they now need the quickest pit stop possible in order to put up a fight. But Salomon, with this extra lap, being as close as he was beforehand as well, should be very tricky to beat.
Yeah, with that extra lap, it's going to give him that one extra lap to put the throttle to the floor. And
he's got ahead.
Madsen has just about managed to jump ahead of Goddestad. That is absolutely huge. As I wonder if we can pull up the pit stop times as well. And Madsen actually wasn't that much quicker.
Here comes Dimbolo.
Here comes Dimbolo, who's gotten ahead of Goddestad. That is absolutely huge. Dimbolo has had a really, really good outlap. And, well, we said Dimbolo might not have fuel saved that much, and it looks like he's done around the same as everyone else. So, well done to Dimbolo, who right now is in a net, I think, P3.
Yeah, and Goddestad's gone from first down to effectively fourth when all the pit stops are complete. So, he is the big loser out. Madsen doing just about enough on the fuel. Ergo with the shortest pit stop I'm seeing of anyone so far. But Salomon, I think, will probably be able to beat that. Herford as well, doing very well to make the extra lap. Has anyone else moved around? Still Koss in that 8th place. I think Koss may have lost out actually to Ergo during the pit stop cycle. But here comes Salomon, absolutely bombing it in, but I think he's got it stopped all right. And we're expecting about a 12-second stationary. That's what he needs in order to jump the rest. And look at that, he's even doing the gear change thing in order to get absolutely every element he can get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do in a race like this. You got to absolutely, well, just push the boundaries of the sim that you're playing. And, well, the top drivers seem to enjoy doing this little pit lane hack, just going a little bit quicker than you should be.
This will be fairly close. He's only 0.8 faster than Madsen in the box.
This could be quite quick. Wow.
Nah, maybe he
Wow.
is. No, he's miles ahead. How did he do that?
Wow.
What an in-lap.
That is absolutely incredible. And well, we've said this before. There's a reason why he's leading the championship. This is round 2. Can Dimbolo get ahead? He has, you know. What an overtake by Joseph Dimbolo on Nick Madsen, who we know is, well, he doesn't like to be overtaken, but well, have that, Nick Madsen. Taste of your own medicine. Got sent round the outside. And well, Madsen, unsurprisingly, is not going to give this up at all. Round the outside of Tozer, he tries to go, but it's not the ideal line through that corner at all. Is now under pressure from Godestad as well. Lazarus trying to pick up the scraps, but I mean, before we cut back to that battle, it really does go to show why Gabriel Salomon is going to be, most likely, fingers crossed, the champion of this Porsche Cup Series, and he absolutely deserves it. But look at this for an overtake. Round the outside of Tamburello, you do not see moves like this very often, but Joseph Dimbolo, hats off to him fully. Fair racing between them both. And yeah, kept it clean. And Dimbolo's definitely gotten revenge for what happened earlier on in the race.
Yeah, I mean, I expected the same thing that happened earlier on to happen.
So did I.
That Madsen would just, force him a little bit wide and he would get past. But here comes Madsen back through into Ravazza 1. Dimbolo with very good speed again on the outside. A little bit of contact, a little bit of neck there between the two of them. But Dimbolo carries the speed, doesn't pick up the gravel, which would have killed his acceleration. But the battle's not over yet because it's now Madsen in the drop that got Godestad on the tail. Lazarus is trying to get back up there. Two of these guys have led the race already. They're now just fighting for second place, but it is still super competitive. Here comes Madsen. He's not going to get around there. Godestad looking on the inside, having a bit of a slide. Madsen just about surprised. Lazarus is the one who has a half spin, and they all exit Tamburello in the same order they entered it.
Wow. I mean, I genuinely expected at least one person to go tumbling over, head over heels there, but fair play to them all. They just about kept their noses in clean. And, well, yeah, fair and good racing for these last few spots on the podium. And Dimbolo doing an amazing job at just about holding on from Nick Madsen. So I think something else happened to Erger as well. And, yeah, not quite sure what happened to him. He's just... Is that fuel or what's happened?
He had
pitted. Oh no, oh no, I saw that. That was I think something technical. His tires snapped one way. I think that was something wheel related, unfortunately for Erger.
He has got back going, so maybe it was a case of taking the USB out and plugging it back in.
I think this is going to be some kind of technical issue, and yeah, he's not shifting up. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And yeah, you're completely right. Yeah, just the quick unplug, plug it back in, and well, it just magically seems to work because technology just does these things. I don't think anyone quite understands how technology does these things and why suddenly turning them on and off just works. But it does. It's a simple solution, and it works. And yeah, Erger's managed to get going again, but unfortunately has slipped right down to 13th. I think he was like in 8th at one point, so he's got a lot of time to make up, and yeah, it's 10 seconds to Herford in front. Not ideal for him at all. As Pennington as well has made a good comeback in the rest of this race. I don't think it's going to be quite enough, obviously, but I mean, hats off for Pennington for not giving up. And yeah, he's put on a good performance considering at one point he was all the way down in 17th. Well, he's nearly in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, second down to 12th, second down to 11th, sorry. Separated by just 8 seconds at the moment. I mean, this is a really close race. Everyone's had their trials and tribulations, but in terms of competitiveness, it has been really fantastic. And of course, we've had a slightly reduced grid, so that when a third of the grids are pretty much identical on pace with one another, it's pretty cool to see. Really good way to end the season, this, after what has been already 9 fantastic rounds of the championship. And we've only got 13 minutes to go. We've got a few passes, I think, from Gabriel Salomon that we can show. And we'll go through a few of them from earlier on in the race.
Yeah, we may as well. And well, Sam, you're going to have to
Unfortunately, I
length
can't
here,
see this one
unfortunately.
either, but I know it's on Pedersen, so I think that was his teammate, so probably the easiest overtake he had to make all night.
Yeah, and well, I mean, Salomon has done an absolutely fantastic job coming through the field, and honestly, it kind of reminds me of like the F1 2020 season, or even last year, where the likes of Hamilton or Verstappen would crash, be like last, and still end up winning the race by a comfortable margin. Remember, he was, I think, at one point 10th, 6 seconds off the lead, and now he's first, 6 seconds ahead of everyone else. So,
Might
yeah,
be
it's
worth going back to
it
live
goes to show.
pictures, because I think Bogdan Moldovan may have had an issue. Yeah, Moldovan's had a spin, and I think he has had an issue as well. Pennington has moved up to 9th position now, the Pro-Am driver, but that is a shame for Moldovan, who I think that's his 3rd instance so far in this race. The first 2 weren't his fault. I'm curious as to see if this one was.
Oh dear, that's
Oh, who's that one?
Moldovan going round again, I think. I'm not sure who that was going round again, but yeah. I think, yeah, there's someone off in the gravel, but here's what happened to Moldovan, just a bit wide. Who was that who pushed him? Oh, that's a heavy impact.
He had a separate incident there with Pennington afterwards as well, which put him in the wall.
Yeah, and I just don't think Key gave him enough room. A bit of glue, but I don't know. I felt like that's definitely on Key. The Moldovan was more than rightful to that space on the outside, so yeah, it's just unfortunate. And he's obviously got big damage from that incident, and yeah, real big shame for Moldovan. And you know, he had a really good qualifying, but yeah, just hasn't had the luck in this race at all. Genuinely, I want to give the man a hug. He's been so unlucky this race. It's genuinely like really sad. But yeah, hopefully Moldovan will have that good pace as we head throughout the rest of the season. Koss has also been passed by Christensen for 7th, as Pennington actually starts to eke closer and closer to Koss. So, I mean, obviously, Koss has given it to Hammer. This could get interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember when I won the BSR Radical Winter Series Championship, and I often say this, not enough, but I do often say this, how on the last race I became all passive. Even though I had the championship in the bag at that point, I just didn't want anything to go wrong. I think that's the champion instinct as going through Igor Koss, which personally I can very much relate to.
I think you'll remember well I didn't take that approach.
No, yeah, you just binned it.
I still won though, so that's all that matters. Here is Erger and Key battling with one another, and well, Key's car is just, wow, the back of that Porsche does not look healthy, and to be fair, I'm surprised the engine is still working, to be honest, considering it's a rear engine car, but fair enough, it's still chugging along nicely. But yeah, I took the opposite approach in my final race of the season. I actually set the lap record for F3s at Zolder that week. I took the opposite approach. I wanted to win everything, and unfortunately I made one tiny mistake, somehow kept it out of the wall, and yeah, won by I think like 3 or 4 points. So yeah, I just won that championship, but a win's a win, innit? So I didn't really care. I finished like 12th, but you know.
Gave Fabio Cassetto his 9th runners-up spot in the amateurs or something. I mean, poor guy. Finished runner-up in Super Formula as well last season. I've invited him to take part in F4, so hopefully he can get over the line one of these days, but hopefully it will happen at some point. The Dimbolo train was growing. His pace is very much rooted in the mid-44s. There's guys like Hammer behind him who can get into the 43s. So Hammer is chasing down these guys. He's 3.5 seconds back, but he has got Christensen to overtake. Of course, he pitted earlier. It early did, Hammer, in order to not have to overtake Christensen. And Christensen's ended up ahead of him anyway. So it's just a painful circumstance for Hammer, who honestly I think had as much pace as Salomon tonight. I mean, whenever I've looked at his times, he's been absolutely ripping up the circuit. But he just had that setback early on. Has been stuck ever since.
Yeah, it's just not. Again, it's one of these drivers that's just been incredibly unlucky today, and honestly, I still do not know who's really at fault for that first lap incident. I don't think I'm qualified to really comment. I mean, I guess I'm a racing driver. I know what is meant to happen, but yeah, I just think it was two drivers hard racing for first place on the first lap. It's just what happens. And it's a final race. Salomon didn't really have anything to lose, so he went for that gap, and we know how aggressive he can be. But as much as I would like to look at the replay, I know exactly what's going to happen, and me and Sam won't be able to see it. So I think we'll leave that one.
Yeah, if you
for
want,
now.
rewind it to about 2 minutes into the race, and then quickly get back to live. It was a mess, and fourth placement up to first. In one corner, it was Corey Lazarus. He now finds himself in fifth place, actually dropping a bit away from Goddestad now, as Lazarus, not quite with that pace. I think he's just made a mistake, actually. He was close then, wasn't he? He lost 7/10 in Sector 1 and 1.2 seconds through Sector 2, so I think he went off at Villeneuve. And Christensen can taste blood, and rather than looking all in his mirrors, he can look out the windshield.
Yeah, Lazarus has not had an easy day at all today. He, of course, was leading at some points in the early stages, but just lacked that finesse, and just lacked a little bit of pace. That's a mistake, and that's going to gift a position to both Christensen and Hammer.
I think his tyres are dead.
I was about to say the same thing. I think he might have just pushed a bit too hard in those first few laps when he was given that opportunity, and yeah, he's paying a bit of a price now. He's slipped down to 7th. He is still leading in the Pro-Am category, but yeah, obviously from leading overall to leading in the Pro-Ams is just went a bit too deep, and yeah, just tried to carry a bit too much speed on those old Michelins. He's come into the pits, yeah.
I mean, well, the tyres couldn't have been that bad. Maybe there was something else going on.
If he got a meatball, that would be incredible, because obviously that can happen.
He was stationary for 14 seconds, which is a weird time to be stationary. That's like 2 tyres, isn't it? That's not going to be all 4 tyres. So
that was a drive-through.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
He didn't come to a stationary stop. You're absolutely right, Aaron. Thank you. And he's down to 12th place. So, I mean, me at least, making a big deal about how Koss and Payton weren't 1-2 for once in qualifying. Well, at the end of an hour-long race, they're comfortably 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're literally 20 seconds ahead of the next Pro-Am. So, yeah, it's just it's gone a bit wrong for Lazarus, and has played clearly a bit too fruitfully with track limits, and has unfortunately picked up that drive-through, maybe made a bit of contact along the way. And I would just like to mention as well, Salomon is pulling away at quite a vast rate. It might end up being 10 seconds by the end of this race. I mean, if there's a drive worthy of a champion, I think this is probably the one. We've not really seen him truly dominate. We've seen him defend and have absolutely excellent racecraft, but this kind of dominance, you don't see very often in the likes of Porsche Cup, especially from a driver who was 6 seconds off the lead in 10th. Absolutely incredible stuff. And this kid, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, he's going places.
Change for second. Was that a change for second?
I think it was a bit of a blip.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blip. Apologies for interrupting you there, Anne. But I got excited for a moment. But I think you're absolutely right about Salomon. He is very talented. Sure, he's going to be in a big team before long. No disrespect to Altson Motorsport, that is, but he will certainly be going places, and I'm sure hopefully he'll be qualifying for PESC later this year. He does need to get his iRating up a little bit more. He's up to 6.5, but he wants to be up at Lazarus. Oh man, it's going from bad to worse. Broken spine now as well. Marshall goes past him for 12th. Hotchuk's made a late pit stop as well. I think he's reached the instant limit. They are limited to 17 instants, so it is really tough around this circuit to keep it under.
Yeah, and it is quite a difficult track for track limits as well, as Lazarus gets back past Marshall. I think Marshall might have made a mistake somewhere, but yeah, that's Kotchap going for a drive-through. And yeah, you wouldn't think a track like this would be that bad for track limits, but if you're going side by side for quite a long time, if you're pushing hard to get ahead of your rivals, it can slowly add up. You know, it's one, oh, it's not that bad. Then it's 5, then it's 10, and then it's 15. And you're like, oh god, if I get a spin or 4x, I'm done. And yeah, you just have to be a little bit careful with your track limits. As that's what happened to Marshall on the exit of Villeneuve as Lazarus went back through up into 12th place. But I believe that's Quattro spinning again, and just fresh out the pits, he's gone for a little cheeky spin into Tozer.
I hope no one's played it tight on fuel, because Salomon's forced an extra lap. I think if Salomon wasn't out in the lead by 8 seconds, I'm not sure if he would have got the extra lap, but we've actually got a lap and a half to go. And I'm not sure if everyone would have necessarily anticipated it. So watch out for the fuel. It could have a little bit of an issue on the next time round, because we have got one more lap to go after this. Even though we've only got a minute to go on the clock with about half a lap still to go before the white flag. 10 seconds is the gap. Dimbelow looks quite comfortable in second place ahead of Madsen and Goddestad. Christensen sort of halting the progress of Hammer. He frankly doesn't look too close to making a move himself. Hereford is being caught by Erga and Key. That's for 9th, 10th and 11th. That's the most likely positions to change, I think, before the end of the race. Lazarus is also catching them hand over fist in 12th place. So Lazarus might be able to salvage a top 11 out of this as Livingston locks up into outer.
I was about to say, you are forgetting that there is a 15-second gap between Erga and Hereford, so it's not quite close enough.
Hereford, oh man, I was reading it wrong. It was because we were focused on Livingston, so our timing screen was like the opposite way round to what I thought. So, yeah.
But yeah, we're on the white flag now, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Gabriel Salomon has just about forced another one. And, well, good thing.
Pennington.
Oh, Pennington's in the pits. I mean, to be fair, he was behind.
Will he stop? Yeah, he's run out of fuel.
This is, yeah, he's spluttering. That's very painful for Pennington. A slim chance of winning the championship has basically just slipped away, and really unfortunate for Pennington. And well, he's still going to finish probably, I'd say, just about within the top 10, but we'll wait and see what happens to
he'll
him
be
and actually
overtaken by Lazarus.
Yeah,
he'll be 13th, I think.
Yeah, but I was just about to say, good thing we are on IMSA and we don't finish races a lap early, because iRacing doesn't do that. The 23 hours and 58 minutes of Daytona was really good at the weekend, but I would have liked to have seen that final lap. But hey ho. We get to see the final lap of this, though. Who is going to be the last man on the podium? Nick Madsen, of course, is a very, very feisty driver, and Goddestad is going to want to get one more podium to add to his roster this season. Madsen going defensive into very anti-outer. I think Dimbelow is going to be comfortably in second place. Key and Erga fighting as well for 9th and 10th. But, well, there's only one man literally one man today who has stood out from the rest. And, well, he's going to come across the line to be a world champion in Apex Racing Porsche Cup Series Season 9. Salomon wins Imola and, well, along with it, the Pro Championship, and absolutely smacks the competition.
Oh, close to third. Madsen's run out of fuel, I think. Madsen, has run out of fuel. He holds on to 4th place, but Goddestad finishes in 3rd. Christensen just came up a bit short. And Goddestad, in a rich vein of form at the end of the season, manages to get a podium, and Madsen was struggling on that last lap. He dropped off Dimbelow, but that extra lap did cause problems for a couple of guys. It was Pennington and Madsen spluttering to the line. Salomon, like you said, wins at Imola, and that was his 6th win out of 10 races this season. Total dominance.
Total and utter dominance from Gabriel Salomon. And, well, to be fair, I think we kind of predicted this from round 2 on. There's someone upside down I don't want to know how that's happened. I don't know who that is. There is literally someone on the main straight who is on their roof, completely Cars style. But I don't know how that's happened, but fair enough. I guess it's last race antics, isn't it? People are going to be slamming themselves into walls because, well, why not? It's the last race. Everything's all done and dusted, and well, this has been a really enjoyable season. I got to say, it's been a shame not to have such a close championship fight with really anyone at all. But I mean, nonetheless, it's provided some of the best racing I think I've ever seen on iRacing. I think I'm okay in saying that.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree. I think it's been fantastic, and of course, congratulations confirming the titles for Igor Kos in the Pro-Ams and for Gordon Marshall in the AMs. It was pretty much wrapped up before tonight, at least for Marshall. Kos still needs to score a few points in order to confirm it, but they have both got the points that they needed, and I am 99% sure, and I will upload the points in a bit, that this team, Valkyrie Excite, will also be the team's champions. And considering that they were over 100 points behind at the midway point of the season, they have relentlessly, with their two drivers, Goddestad and Christiansen, being able to close the gap and surpass it, and another third and fifth tonight, their highest scoring team tonight, and they ended up winning the teams quite comfortably. So congratulations to those guys. Porsche Cup veterans, former of course driver champion is Christiansen, and they thoroughly deserve that team's title.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we were talking about this last week, that had Oatson maybe rejiggled their team just a little bit better, they probably would have won. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty close in the end, to be fair. But like you said, Valkyrie just went on an absolute run in these last 5 rounds. Spa was definitely their most impressive, where their teamwork, I think that's why they won. I know it's a team sport, but I mean, that's just how you win. They were by far the best. You know what I mean? The two drivers who worked as close to one another compared to kind of the rest of the grid. So yeah, just absolutely well done to them. They thoroughly deserve it.
Yeah, do thoroughly deserve it. Let's have a look then at our final results then for this final round of the championship. And it was Gabriel Salomon at the top. Dimbolo, of course, won the AMs, but he will be a pro to start next season, I'm sure. He's already gone up quite a bit of iRacing, and I'm sure he'll be into the 5 or 6k by the time the next season comes around. Got Stad in third. Madsen ran out of fuel in fourth. Then it was Christiansen, Hammer. Kos was top of the Pro-Ams once again. After a bit of a poor run actually in the 60-minute races. This was his best one of the season. There was Hereford, Erger in 9th, Key in 10th. There was Lazarus, Marshall, Pennington, Koopmans, Palomino, Molliord, Volta, Quatchup in 8th place. And then it was Livingston, Horg, Moldovan, Pedersen and Horn. We'll get there next season, Nick. We will get there next season. We'll have a few chats with some of our drivers. I'll let you drag up who you want to chat with first, and whilst I do the points.
I mean, I don't really think there's anyone else who really deserves to get the interview first, other than this man, Gabriel Salomon. I mean, you've had some good performances this season, but I think you will agree that's probably your best race you've done this season. I mean, after lap 1, down in about 10th, and you still went on to dominate the race by 11 seconds. Just, I mean, obviously, I haven't even said this. Congratulations on the title. Absolutely well done, man. And yeah, you've been astounding this whole season. And just tell us, how do you feel?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. No, it's amazing, and I've said this before in previous interviews, but like once again, and I mean this like truly, that I had never thought that this season would go to the level that it has. Like it's incredible, and to be the pro champion when I started out in Pro-Am in the first race, I didn't even have enough iRating at the time to be in Pro-Am. You know, it's incredible, and I'm so happy. I'm over the moon. It's incredible.
We were discussing this halfway through the race. If we don't see you in Pesk we will start throwing hands. You need to be driving this car at a professional level because I mean you've beaten some PESC drivers this season. I mean, of course, I mean I work for Apex, so hopefully they won't kill me if I say this, but you were consistently beating Apex drivers and some other guys along the way as well. So I mean, you've just been absolutely incredible this whole season, and yeah, just thoroughly well done. But obviously, let's talk about the race. Just tell us after lap 1, just what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I want to start off by saying sorry to Philip. I was trying to give as much space as possible, and I just looked at the replay right after the race and saw that it was unfortunately just netcode. But it was really unfortunate nonetheless. I was super lucky with the damage that I got. It wasn't very much, but I fought my way up the field. And some of the drivers were super nice, and they did kind of let me through. Like instead of battling, maybe that would have just been to save their tires a bit more. But yeah, I appreciated that. And then I just fuel saved as much as possible the entire race and saved my tires. Like, tried to make sure that I didn't get a single slide on the entire race. Then I started seeing people going into the pits, and I really couldn't. I was like, haven't they saved more fuel? Because I had a spin, and I, was giving like full throttle throughout the spin, and I thought like I had lost a lot of fuel, and I would have to pit one lap before the others. But apparently not. So I went at one lap more, went into the pits. I had a really good pit stop. And then when I got out and I was like 2 seconds in front of the others, I just pushed as much as I could, and I'd saved my tires and put a bit extra fuel in for the stint, so I could just push all the way, and which is how I got the 11-second gap.
Well, I mean, it's very complicated things going through a driver's mind, but ultimately it leads to victories like these. So you just got to do all of these things at once. Think about 50 minutes into the future, and well, you did it to a T. But yeah, it was a really good performance by you today. And well, what's next for Mr. Salomon? I mean, what are your plans for the future now that you've got this championship under your belt?
The plan now is to practice for PESC. I'm gonna be getting my iRating up. I don't know if you guys have seen, but
6.5. Yeah.
2 rounds ago I was 4.2. Now I'm at 6.5. So I've been grinding a bit of officials, trying to get my iRating up, and I should hopefully be at 8K at the end of February, and then I should be at like a decent level for contenders, hopefully. And then just get to know the car even better than I already do. Get to learn the small tricks that the pros know that I don't. Just like try to make myself as best suited as possible for their contender series.
Well, I mean, I will definitely be keeping an eye on your progress, because yeah, from seeing you at the start of this season to now, it's incredible stuff, and that's why we commentators love doing this. It's just amazing to see progress as a driver moves forward in their career. But one last time, Gabriel, I'm going to ask you this. One last shout out to anyone for this amazing season.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, and unfortunately for a last time, Oten Motorsports, I'd like to thank all the guys over there for supporting me as well. Then I'd like to thank you guys again for all the amazing commentary that I've been watching after I've raced myself. Go and watch the commentaries and all the nice things that you guys have said about me. It's been really nice to hear. And then thank you to everyone, really, all my opponents that I've been racing against, like providing clean, fair racing, and all the people involved. I've gotten a lot of good friends here, and it's been super fun.
Oh, thank you for coming and doing this series with us, Gabriel, and well, good luck for your future endeavors, and congratulations. You fully deserve it.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good one.
You too.
So that was your series champion, Gabriel Salomon. for this season. Hopefully we'll see him back in some kind of ARL capacity in future, but yeah, you would understand if he is pulled away to other stuff. Let's have a chat with our Pro-Am champion, Igor Kos, who joins us now. Igor, it is confirmed, I've done the points and you are at the top of the tower. Congratulations, man. That it was a hard-earned victory for the title. You were pushed every step of the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a great season for me. Quite consistent, not like the other last 2 seasons where I was a bit unlucky every time. Yeah, and this time it worked out. Actually, I'm really surprised how it developed through the season, because I was going without any expectations into the race. Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much. This season delivered completely. It was really great.
Absolutely. Let's have a quick word about tonight. You were sort of a bit under the radar. It seemed like everyone else was being super aggressive. You were just quite relaxed, it looks like, in that position. But it just seemed like everyone was so closely matched. I mean, you were as quick as P2 at times, but then you also had guys who were a bit quicker than you, and that must have been quite a lot of fun to just have, 10 guys that you were battling for position with through most of the race.
Yeah, actually I was just controlling the car, all the stuff I have to do, because Luke was behind me a few positions, so I had that in mind, so I was trying to stay ahead and not doing any mistakes, also no incidents. I think I get in the pit stops with just 2 incidents on something, off tracks I mean. So I was trying to keep it clean and just keep up with the guys in front. Unfortunately, they're a bit faster than me, but still, I think I finished 7th, so it's great result for Imola, because I'm really bad at Imola. I was just gambling the first 2 corners every time when I was going around, and yeah, quite hard track for me, to be honest.
Well, you managed to pull it off. I imagine you'd probably like a word as well on Luke Pennington, because Luke's, really going up in the world. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but in Porsche GB, he's absolutely crushing the amateur class in that. It must have been a lot of fun to have a proper championship fight against one driver, because you two just seem to be pushing each other to new levels throughout the season.
Yeah, that's I was a bit how should I say, not very happy about his result in Road America, because it kind of took off all the pressure through the season. I think we just the leadership of the Pro-Am just changed every race kinda. I was leading 4 or 5 races, and then he was leading 4 or 5 races, so 3 or 4 races. Yeah, it was really nice, and it's always good to have competition in the league, so you can work on it, and you have to be faster than them, and it's pushing you like to the limits, and you're improving in this time. Yeah, some races were really, really nice, and I felt like I improved a lot through the season, pace wise. So all the managing stuff like fuel, tires, it's quite interesting. Yeah, the car was still fast in the last few laps, but I was just keeping it clean and bring it home, because just a small mistake can take you out, and this 30 points of gap could be closed really fast, because he was just behind me at the end of the last 4 or 5 laps, I think. So
yeah, it was super close between you guys near the end of the race, and yeah, very suiting that you guys pretty much found each other on track in those final few laps. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Igor?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, because Gabriel is leaving his team too, so is me. It's a bit different for me, because FTR Esports will continue to exist like a gaming community, but we will stop the racing action with FTR Esports, so I'm looking for another team too. And I would say a lot of thanks to Michael, who is coaching the ARA Cup guys. He was helping me a lot. I learned a lot in the group coaching sessions, and he gave me a lot of advices how to improve, where to improve, and this was really, really good for me. And I think I will stay with Apex Racing Academy again for another year. I think silver subscription isn't there, right? And yeah, I want to say also a lot of thanks to you guys. You did a lot of good stuff. I was watching every race after I was racing it, and really great commentating. And thank you to make it happen this season. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Igor. And yeah, very pleased that you got so much use out of the academy. And yes, very happy to have you sticking around and yeah, continue to learn from Michael in the Porsche Cup. So thank you for taking part this season. Well done on the title, and we hope to see you back very soon.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Igor Kos, your Pro-Am champion this season. Aaron, who are you dragging up next?
Well, it's only fitting that we talk to our AM champion. Well, congratulations, Gordon. It's been a pretty good season for you as well. You've absolutely dominated the AM category, and well, it's been another decent race for you, getting second in AM. Although I think dim below, it probably shouldn't be an AM, to be honest. So I guess you could call this one a victory as well. But
I'm taking it as a victory. So thanks for having us, guys. I was just saying to Joseph in the green room there, he will definitely not be an amateur next year. So no, it's been a really good championship. I got off to a really good start, I've got to say, but Thomas Asfog really kept me honest, and the two of us were kind of stretching our legs with it, and then when he pulled out, all I had to be is not silly and just hold it together. So yeah, they've been good me and Thomas became quite good friends, just discussing even when we were rivals. So he's a really nice guy as well. So it's a pity he pulled out when he did.
I think that's definitely the best thing between two incredible drivers, that you both end up becoming friends. That's definitely a good sports mentality to have. But well, Gordon, after a pretty good season, will we see you back in Apex again for next season, or will you move on to do something else?
No, I think Apex is where I'm at just now. I think I've just renewed my subscription for a year, so you've definitely got me for at least another year.
Oh, that's always good to know. And yeah, you'll at least be a Pro-Am next season, and definitely going to be a new challenge for you. And well, hopefully we see you battling for that championship as well. But yes, it's been a really good season for you. And like you said, after Asphalt pulled out, it was fairly straightforward. But I mean, if you had to pick your favourite race of this season for you, what would that be?
You've really put me in the spot there. You know, I'm trying to remember half of it. I think my best performance should have been Nürburgring at the Nordschleife, but that should have been, and I think actually for an AM I put a good performance in. But I was quite happy with most of my races, to be honest, apart from Bathurst. I think that was horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got those bogey tracks, but I guess you know, being good at the Nordschleife is probably a bit of a flex. So you know, that's fair play for being your favourite round as such a good track. But yeah, for one last time, Gordon, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
My new team, Walk Racing Esports. I'll be hopefully supporting I'll be sporting their livery next year. Obviously you guys for your amazing coverage, and Apex themselves. I think even since joining Apex, I've really grew, especially with Michael. on the Wednesday night. So yeah, I think it's really suiting me.
Well, thank you for coming and talking with us, and a lot of our drivers seem to really appreciate the work that Michael does, and well, we absolutely love to see it. But well done, and congratulations, Gordon, on your championship, and good luck for future seasons.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
So that was Gordon Marshall, your amateur champion. I think that pretty much wraps us up then for this season, and we've had a chat with all of our title winners, and yeah, it just all deserved champions and all nice people. Such a nice league. Honestly, I and I think as well, just to as well, we got the of course team champions as well. We had Valkyrie Esports, who managed to win out as well, of course, by a good margin. So incredibly impressive from them. And yeah, it's just the nicest league I can remember, honestly. Everyone gets on well. Some more respectful racing, and even when there was that bit of a shunt on lap 1, I think there's not much animosity between the drivers.
No, I think this round was. There was obviously a bit of a championship fight in the teams, and obviously between Pennington and Koss, but I mean, most of it was pretty much wrapped up, especially in the pros and the amateurs. So I think this round was kind of just everyone winging it, to be honest, and just seeing what they can do in this last round. And yeah, I fully agree with you that this is one of the calmest, nicest leagues that we've ever had. Everyone very polite, mostly respectable on track as well. Of course, they're all basically in love with Michael at this point for helping them. So yeah, it's been a really, really nice league, this one, and I have to admit, I wasn't expecting that from Porsche Cups, but so I fully respect it, and everyone in this league should be damn proud of themselves, and it's been a great season, in my opinion. It's probably been one of my favourites that I've ever done. It's been really, really fun every single week, and yeah, if I get the opportunity to do the next one, which I don't know, because you guys probably will do it in the studio, but if I can, I'm more than happy to do it. It's been so much fun.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the next season will, like you said, probably be in the studio, and I think that would it be March, I think, the next one. So yeah, watch out for that one, early March. Of course, do check out the Apex Racing League Discord. The link to that is in the description below. You can click on that, and you can see the latest news when it comes to all the Apex Racing League series, including, of course, the Saturday night series starting on Saturday, the F4. So do make sure to subscribe to that if you are wanting to get some ARL action. Of course, we have got plenty more broadcasts coming up on Apex Racing TV over the next few days. We've got prototypes on Thursday, we've got GT3 Trophy on Friday. BRSCC will be back at some point. Weekend Warriors and the Speculator Ford and Formula 4s will be back. Champion Motorsports, I think, might make its return as well this weekend. So we've got lots of action. Make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV for more details on that. And of course, do check out the Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League social media accounts as well on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And yes, do make sure to check out Apex Racing Academy, SDK Gaming, and VRS to check out the products that they offer. All links to them in the description below as well. But thanks to everyone who has tuned in this season. We really do appreciate your attendance, making the YouTube chat interesting for us. And thanks to you as well to the drivers for putting on such a fantastic show for all 10 rounds of the season. We hope to see many of you back for next season. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Aaron Smith, and from Joshua Wilkie, we are going to say goodbye. We will say congratulations to our driver and teams champions, and we'll see you back for season 10 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup very, very soon. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.